A pleasant good evening to you all. I'm Shane Harris. And before we have this program kick off, there is some sad news. Well, two of them. One, if you love drama, and if you love thrillers, and if you particularly know your facts about World Vision Enterprises, then the name David Lynch should be one that pops in your head real quickly. The man behind Twin Peaks and Hotel Room has passed away at the age of 78. On the other side, a bit more closer to me, is one of my favorite day jobs during the summer, and that is Challenger League Baseball. For myself being a commentator, every commentator in the Challenger, minor, and even major levels in the entire American baseball scene should know who the name Bob Uecker is. A legendary voice of the Brewers, and a man that I got introduced to thanks to his cameo appearances in basketball and Major League. He passed away at the age of 90. We send out our condolences to both families. Tonight's episode of Shane Harris Tonight is one of my quote-unquote pillar episodes, because these are ones that I really love so much, but not everyone else. And this one is probably one of the most divisive since Johnny Test. In fact, it came from the same creator, and it's owned by the same group. In fact, it's 10 years back then that we were introduced to the SuperNoobs. So let's discuss this very unique blast from the past. Now, this is interesting. A sci-fi comedy developed in Vancouver featuring an all-star cast. I want to give it as enough light as possible. There we go. Featuring an all-star cast being the main foursome. From being Ian, Richard Ian Cox. From Johnny Test, Lee Talker. From Jimmy Two Shoes, Tabitha St. Germain. And from Ed, Edd n Eddy, Matt Hill. Sounds pretty damn good on paper, doesn't it? Well, it is. But unfortunately, just like Heaven's Gate in 1980, not everything with an all-star cast gets to have a good critical reception. And you'll easily know why it's got a 3.3 on IMDb. And it all begins with, well, just a concept. It's a sci-fi comedy. Two aliens turn their back on their headmaster, go down to Earth, find four characters who think that they're the chosen ones, and basically create their own A-team out of that, and become the new defenders of the Earth. Sounds simple enough. Well, it was sort of poorly executed because of its writing. When you think of sci-fi, you think of drama. And that's true. When you think of sci-fi, you think plenty of action. Also true. But unfortunately, that was not the case. They decided to turn it into a comedy. And the only 3 episodes that is linear is literally the first 3. And you don't really get much background to each of the characters. Because, first off, how do we know all 4 of these characters, Kevin, Tyler, Jennifer, and Theodore, are all friends? Well, we were just Thanos snapped right in to thinking, okay, how did these 4 end up being together other than the fact that they're just classmates in a Vancouver suburb? Well, it makes sense, because, this was 2015. Literally anything can go wrong that year. Like, come on. It's the same year where Cam Newton gave the Panthers their most costliest loss ever in the Super Bowl. And their big cartoon that year, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, started off strong, but then it went on a downward spiral filled with love interest stories and whatnot. But for SuperNoobs, things cannot get any worse. Because not only the writing is probably the worst out of my Shane Harris Tonight bunch, this series unfortunately had some of the worst scheduling on American television. Now, for Teletoon viewers in Canada, they were so fine, and also viewers down in Australia on the ABC down there, who also carries Media Watch, also did pretty fine down there. But in the United States, most people don't know about it because either A, they were probably not interested, and B, this is when Cartoon Network started to completely go careless about their scheduling. Because I remember that one of the new episodes of this show, back in 2015-16, aired at 6:30 a.m. in the morning on a weekday. 6:30 a.m. in the Philadelphia region. That is 5:30 if you lived in Chicagoland. And for myself and so many other kids of my age, seriously, why would I want to wake up that early to watch a new series when instead you can just wait the next few days until it hits on demand on your cable system? That is a very fair point. But you also have to remember, this is when Teen Titans Go was starting to become a juggernaut, and so was Steven Universe at that time. So the odds were really stacked against them. For Scott Fellows, the creator of SuperNoobs, he was also responsible for another project that Wildbrain owns. You probably know that by now. And that is Johnny Test. And this was 1 year after Johnny Test started to take a hiatus. A much needed one, because the fans on social media were calling out this series for some of the worst writing and sound editing imaginable. Like, you think you're probably watching like a Sheriff John Bennell TV show on Fox, basically, in terms of sound editing. And that is not good. And the animation was quite stilted because they really cheaped out with the Flash models. But here, with SuperNoobs, things are a bit more promising. The characters in the backgrounds aren't as stiff or bland. It's just, it sort of was fine. Some of the movements were smooth, and that's good. But some of the more other shots and stuff were a bit gaudy. It's hard to come up with terminologies that aren't too technical for you viewers out there, because trust me, I'm no genius when it comes to video production. So, yeah. This series, unfortunately, did have plenty of sound effects usage that is above average. So, that probably didn't help. Neither the fact that its theme music is an easy earworm. Some people think, including myself, think that it's actually fine, but others think otherwise. So, this series got kicked off the air by around 2017 or so, because, well, low ratings, low promotion, low critical review. Yeah, it was stacked against it. Luckily, Disney's Hulu service does have the series on streaming right now, so that's good if you want to rewatch some of it. And now we get to the very interesting stuff. How did I end up here with my guilty pleasure? Well, forget the aliens part of the story. Think about the foursome. You have an asshole, you got someone who's trying to do everything right, You got a know-it-all, and you got someone who's just there. Doesn't that sound familiar to you? If so, every single one of you viewers out there may have one of those 4 characteristics. And I, unfortunately, have all 4 of them. So, at least I'm being honest with you viewers. Because, let's face it, they tried. They just tried. For myself, I ended up watching this series because this was after Johnny Test ended, and I was furious that they pulled the plug on the series in the US prior to the Netflix revision. And myself was a huge Cartoon Network viewer at the time, so I was interested to see what was next. One that actually would work with me. And here came SuperNoobs. And it was a great idea. The fact that these characters get to have 4 unique light-up balls that can turn them into these armored warriors protecting Earth. I was actually excited for it. And back then, when I was age 12, because it's 2015, I thought, okay, this series is okay. Not too bad, not too good, it's okay. And I still feel the same. Because, let's face it, Mel Brooks and Deadpool both perfected this form of art. And that is, not trying too hard to be funny. This show tried to do that. Just throw everything at the wall without being serious. And it worked on some occasions, and it failed on others. This is your 50-50 show, basically. On top of that, the character designs are pretty damn good. Though, if you go on DeviantArt, you will probably not be impressed by the fact that there is a lot of art being pointed towards Jennifer Shope. I'm not getting into the details because some of it may be pretty vile. But, at the end of the day, this series is a guilty pleasure of mine because it tries to be something good with a bad concept. And I just can't even make up any words anymore, can I? It's just there, and it perfectly fits what Shane Harris Knight's supposed to be. Underrated, and somewhat misunderstood. And funny enough, when I got this poster, straight from the IMDb page, usually where the Media DHX, aka Wildbrain, Bavarian color bars, yes, that's the same blue and white that make up the German province of Bavaria, which also houses BMW, the Bayern Motorwerk. You can notice that the white and blue bars is where you would put the contact info. And they would hand out these posters at like conventions and whatnot. But since this is for regular use, they decide not to. And take a look at this. Tyler is literally stepping out of the poster. 4th wall break in front of my face. How about that? How about that? And boy, oh boy, that's pretty good. Anyway, all 4 of the main characters and their voice actors have a pretty good resume, and funny enough, I can smell a slight scent of Vancouver bias with their color choice that they gave Tyler. Green and blue, of course, a nod to the Canucks. So, why not? I did see a few pilot posters in which Shope was supposed to be replaced by another boy character who was also dark-skinned, but that one never was given a name. And Tyler was literally supposed to wear Oilers colors of blue and orange. So, yeah. Pretty interesting shit, isn't it? Luckily, Wild Brain does have all the episodes on YouTube through their Wild Brain Max YouTube page for free. Or maybe Wild Brain Superheroes, because they have multiple YouTube pages where you can watch some of the full-length stuff, but unfortunately, you're gonna have to not be able to say something because they disabled the comments because they marked each of the videos for kids. Anyway, I'm Shane Harris, and we still wish the best of luck to the firefighters out in California, including the ones that came in from Baja California and British Columbia. We hope they're doing well, and also a pleasant happy 175th to the Swiss Post Auto bus service, and also a 100th birthday to the most famous sound that these buses came with, the do-da-da, the Dreiklang horn, the famous three-tone horns that they would use on mountain roads to clear oncoming traffic. Trust me, I actually like that. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your time. Shane Harris tonight. We'll be back with another episode next Friday, in which we will be talking about Oban Star Racers. So yeah, more crazy sci-fi stuff to come. Take care. Bye.